By the time I was 24 years old, I had concluded, no, suspected, that I had seen the three most beautiful places in the world in my travels. Uh, Roaring Spring ranked third. It came in third, and it still does. Uh, but I want to tell you just a little bit about that, how it could be beat, and maybe later why it is so high on that list, because I traveled a lot. By that time, you see, for me, travel, and I think for a lot of people, travel isn't about relaxation and pleasure. Travel is about learning. You travel to learn. That word travel is related to travail, French word which means work and a woman's labor, hard work. Travel, but people like to do it. Now I think the time of all that exotic travel is over, and it's because of the price of fuel and the fossil fuels and all that. I've talked about that elsewhere. But there is that desire to know. And by the time I was 24, I was confirmed in this belief by the time I was 27. Uh, those three places, I've already told you one, and I'll in a minute I'll tell you what uh, what was number two. I had traveled up and down the East Coast twice, spring break in college. I'd been to Canada once, but briefly, just briefly. I'd been all over New England, especially northern New England. I let me think. I had hitchhiked across America, across the continent, all the way to San Diego from Concord, New Hampshire, and then back. And I kept a diary. I was going to learn. I wanted to see. I wanted to meet people. I wanted to see what the world was like, in a way, before I settled, where I was figured I would stay. But that was still only just the beginning. Once I trained for Peace Corps, well, I went to Africa. Later on, I went to Africa a second time, passing through. I lived in uh, Brazil for 3 years by that time. I'd lived on an island in the Caribbean belonging to Venezuela for 6 months, been to Caracas many times. In Brazil, I'd been to Rio de Janeiro multiple times, even up on top of that Cristo Redentor, Christ the Redeemer statue. I'd taken the little train, Corcovado is it? Up to there. I'd taken the cable car up to Pão de Açúcar in Recife. In Rio de Janeiro. Uh, I traveled, flown up the Amazon, flown across the Andes to Lima, Peru. I traveled by land from Lima, Peru, across by land, mind you, across the Andes to Cusco and Machu Picchu, and then by land across Lake Titicaca. Well, that wasn't land. I guess that was the steamer, overnight steamer across Lake Titicaca to Bolivia. Traveled by steam engine pulled train for, I think it might have taken us 24 hours, I don't know, across South America, back into Brazil, bus back up to northern Brazil. I'm leaving some out, I think. I've been to across Europe twice, uh, quickly in both times. I didn't have a lot of time, but I wanted to see these places. I'd been through the Alps twice. No, only once by that time. Uh, and then now later on in life, I traveled. I traveled a lot after a pause of about 20 years, 15, 20 years. I traveled a lot because I took students to Europe on about 6 trips. I was their counselor or whatever, and I organized a trip, and I took quite a few students on about 6 trips to Europe. later on took my son, my daughter, and my wife. I wanted them to see Europe. My daughter, she caught the bug, and she's traveled even more than I have. But anyway, I'm trying to say, I'm probably leaving some major one out. But anyway, it was a lot of travel. But all the way back when I was 24, I remember concluding, aha, now I have seen the three most beautiful places on earth by the time I was 24. And I remember concluding that, I think, I can almost, I'll tell you in a moment, but Roaring Spring, I maybe wasn't even counting then, but I am now. I'd seen two places that were more beautiful than Roaring Spring. Anyway, when I concluded that was in Martigny in the Alps. The Alps in general come in as second most beautiful place on earth. And I have to take the Alps as a whole. I principally mean the Swiss Alps. Martigny is in southern Switzerland, called Le Valais. And in that town of Martigny, when I looked at what I was surrounded by there, that's when I think I made this conclusion. But later, you know, I saw the Italian Alps, French Alps, Austrian Alps. So I mean, in German, I mean the Alps in general. They came in as number two. They beat Roaring Spring. Well, I would say probably hundreds of places in the Alps beat Roaring Spring for sheer beauty. I wouldn't want to live in any of those places more than I would want to live in Roaring Spring and here where I live now. But in terms of sheer beauty, they came in number two. I'll tell you about number one in a little, but I think I'm going to explain a little bit about what Roaring Spring can learn, what I learned and what I could apply to Roaring Spring, or how the Alps can be compared to Roaring Spring in the next video or two. Bye for now.